Well, it was a good weekend. The Hawkeyes won, the Vikings won, the Chase Elliott won the NASCAR championship. Oh, that really screwed up the weekend. And I can't remember because states. So
yeah. It's just like everything must have started clicking. I didn't get to see much of the game because I was working and different things, but I got to see some of it.
Well, they were able to run the ball efficiently.
Yeah, Goodson looked like he had a pretty good day, 100 and some yards.
Do you have any idea how many masks and blah blah? I don't know. Because Brad would kind of like to know for inventory.
All right, everybody. Don't seem to have anybody on with us yet, but it is 8:30, and I'll call this meeting of the Jefferson County Board of Supervisors to order. First order of business is to acknowledge the minutes from the previous meeting.
We have 2 meetings.
You're right. The first being our regular meeting.
Okay, second. The October 26th one.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. I would also take a resolution to let's see.
For the 29th, I'm motion to approve that one.
Yes, sorry. I'm trying to let people in as I'm sitting here. Okay, I have a motion and a second for the meeting minutes on, what date was that? October 29th. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. So we have both of those minutes approved. Our county engineer is not in here with us yet, so we'll move on to our next agenda. You are perfect, because we're just getting ready to discuss and consider district court issues.
A couple things. Number one is our district court judge that is moving back to Fairfield and will need chambers in the building to provide that.
Ooh, that's a good question, because we're out of space.
My thought was, I know you guys want to get April out of that room where she's at anyway.
Right.
If we can find somewhere else to put her, we can make that.
Which would be nice to have her on the 3rd floor in that office that's right across the hallway from where she's at. Okay, so what's your suggestion as to where we would go with it?
I don't.
Because that's the whole problem we have right now is we don't have space for what we need space for. My other question is about some of the court records that are here in the building can be stored off-site somewhere, but they are not. And there's been pushback, I guess, in the past about moving those to an off-site location, especially records that are more than, 50 years old.
Never. No one's ever had a conversation with me about moving records off-site.
Okay,
Since I first took over as clerk and we talked about like public health building or something, I don't know. But
yeah.
But since then, no one's had a conversation with me about it.
Well,
I'm not opposed to that at all.
Okay. Because if we could get records out of the room that's down in the basement, there's going to be some office space there, and off-site could be over in the basement at the old law center, the fire station. We do have to keep in mind, though, that they're going to be moving out of there. The fire department is relocating, so we have to keep in mind that that entire space is going to eventually become somebody's, and at this point that somebody appears to be us, and so we may have even more space available for different stuff that we need to store or place somewhere or that type of thing once that gets taken care of.
We're not opposed to off-site storage. There's a lot of counties in Iowa that are that way, and and they have to go once a week or every couple days to
Okay.
get records if people need them, so.
How soon is the judge going to be here, and how soon are they going to need those chambers?
Well, she had talked about sometime in November or December, but I don't know the date yet. She hasn't given me a date.
So it's coming up in a hurry. We have 30 days to be able to think of something if we want to get her in here prior to that. Yes.
What kind of space does she have there?
Chris Estel, can you come on with us? Looks like you're muted, Chris.
Oh, good morning.
There you go.
What's up, guys?
We're talking about some space in the public health building, particularly the basement. Do you use storage down there at all? I don't know whether I had this
Yeah,
conversation.
we have a room down there that's locked, and it's that room is full of stuff. I
Is
mean,
there
we have
space down there for other, like, court storage?
I don't know what all. I mean, there's rooms down here with lots of different storage, but I'm not involved in any of that. That's the fire department side. We only have one room and it's locked and it's for public health. I
Okay.
know at one time there was law books down there from Tim Dilly. I have no idea what all is down there now, or who's in charge of what, or if the door's locked, or if it's, moisture controlled.
Mhm.
So those questions are above me.
Okay, well, I'll
Sorry.
do some more investigation on that to see about what's
Yeah.
going on. And what would be a convenient place for the court to be able to have that material stored at, that's not driving clear across town to DHS in case you may need some record.
And I don't know what to do about, is there a basement?
That one's all full as well. It's only the office that we have that DHS is in that has some basement space available if we get a bunch of stuff out, and that's a huge space, and it's got carpeted floor, and it's, that'd be the ideal location, but again, that's clear across town versus right over here. Well, that's a little longer term, but trying to find some space temporarily beginning in November is going to be something that could be a little difficult. So
I was just wondering, about temporarily. No, it's right here. This part. Behind me. Takes advantage of it. What is our, recounts and everything are over. Oh, shoot, we can't do that because of passports. Never mind.
right, the little office
Yeah.
downstairs, no.
So does this judge need it like full-time to begin with?
Doesn't judge you what, I'm sorry.
Need the space full-time to begin with? We know ultimately, yes, but
I think for a little while she could make do with a temporary setup.
because I'm hearing it's gonna be maybe the temporary something until we get some storage space.
Right, and if the fire department is using that area in the basement over there, we aren't going to be able to have them move stuff out so that we can take over at this point, because we still have the 2080 agreement, so much space for them and some for us and whatnot. Okay, well, this is going to take some head scratching. Yes.
Darren, how much stuff are you talking?
Well, we're trying to bat around a few ideas about space for storage for materials from the court records that they have that they
Right,
need.
but how much stuff are you talking to store for a?
Chris, do you remember Sherry's old office down in the basement?
Oh yeah, I do.
It's full. And that's what
I
we're
was gonna. Oh, I don't have that much space. Yeah, if it was something small, I would say yeah, we could move our stuff around, but we don't have that much space. That's a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
Sorry.
it is.
habit your conference room temporarily stayed for an office?
That's where I'm going to house my new person and go hire.
Hey, Darren.
Yeah,
Hey, I could not hear Jenny, so I'm not sure why we need the space.
well, Jenny says that there's going to be a new district court judge that's going to be out of the courthouse here now, coming up in November or December.
Okay.
Here.
And they want an office in the building, but we have no office spaces in the building any longer. And we're already having issues with one employee that doesn't really have an office to be in and has been locked into the room that they've been given several times, and we want to rectify that issue as well. But I know that court records don't necessarily have to be stored on site at the courthouse. They can be stored off site somewhere. It's just trying to throw around ideas of where that somewhere would be so that it's not some huge inconvenience.
Hey, Pat,
Yes.
how about upstairs? I know Tammy uses that office up there, but what is the exact arrangement with her?
I don't have any idea. That wasn't us.
Okay.
That's for, the reason I asked Pat, or I said something to Dee, is because even on a temporary basis, we could move the court advocate over there upstairs would be,
Yeah.
so we were able to facilitate something else if there was enough space up there to accomplish that.
Because I don't think Tammy uses that very often. I've been up there once in 4 years now for a meeting up there for early childhood. It's Tammy Weejan Jefferson uses that space.
Okay.
So I can ask her exactly what her needs are. I think she just needed a place for when she came to Fairfield to do some things. But again, it's not, she might be able to share, and I don't know what the agreement is.
I don't know either, but like I said, like I told Jenny, I used to work in copy machines and they had several office spaces up there upstairs, but I don't know what the configuration is now.
It seemed like, and again, I was just up there once, that it was pretty much a big room. And I don't know if there were any small ones off
There
the
was
side.
small offices in off the hallway, and then there was a big conference room, and then there was kind of a space, if you will, where the copy machines were set between the little offices and the big conference
And
room
you're talking about the VHS.
upstairs.
Oh,
No,
up on the
over
third.
here,
Yeah.
county attorney's
Oh,
office.
county attorney's office. Okay.
Can we
Well, I
run
know
over there
Mike-
after the meeting and look at it?
Pat, after the meeting today, can we come over and look at the office space that Tammy Wiegert-Kesterson's been using in your building?
I don't know that that answer is up to me because, I mean, I think we have a key to it, but as I recall, that was the supervisors that provided that space. So I'm assuming that you can come look at your space anytime you want to.
Yeah, assuming that we, as the owners of that space, have a key for it. I'll talk to Dave.
I can call Tammy, either
I-
right after the
I
meeting.
think that we have a key that gets in there, but we've never used it.
Okay.
Hey, Darren,
Yeah,
this is Brett.
yeah, Brett.
Hey, I do know there's, back to the fire station, I know Public Health's got a room. I think City Hall's got some stuff stored down there in another room, but there are 2 rooms down there, separate rooms that is basically little storage for the fire department that can be moved pretty easily. There's not much in those 2 rooms.
Okay, that's a conversation I think I'll have to take up with Scott.
Yep.
And then the city, but the size of room that we're talking about needing would be the size that the assessor's office used to be in down in the basement here, and all of the stuff that's in there being able to be stored. I don't know if you've been in that room or remember the size of that room or not, Brett. How does that compare to what's over there?
I don't remember the size of that room, so.
Okay. All right.
Actually, if we could move stuff out of that inner office, or move stuff out of that big room, there's that inner office in there. That's what actually used to be Sherry's office.
Right.
And I don't know, I don't suppose it'd be too hard to put internet stuff in there if it's not in there, I don't know.
It should be. why don't you get us the dates that you find out when the judge is going to be here and want to have it, and then we have a little better timeline on what's going on, because if
To the DHS. I mean, we just set our schedule that, once a week, we're going to turn over there, so we will cover every request. We'll have available for you to stay.
right, yeah, that could be, that's good to
We
know.
can be flexible. Every single one of my other counties is here has office, so.
Okay, all right,
Something.
yeah,
Okay, so two other things that I have, our security system upstairs is like, I don't know, like falling off the line. I should be able to log into it from my computer so I can see like who's coming in and out of the doors. And I can reset the key cards and things like that, and I can't do that because for some reason it's not connected. And like the timing, so that also means that like in the morning when we unlock it for the day, it won't stay open because there's something disconnected in there.
okay, who's the, I'll ask Dave about some of this too, but do you recall who the security company was that they purchased that from? And is the software still supported?
It could be that there's like some wiring or something that's bad. I don't really know what the situation is.
Right,
Back when we were at the building, the school building, the guy came in and we had replacement batteries, and that didn't solve the problem because he thought maybe the battery backup wasn't.
yeah, I recall that, and I think that was someone from PCS
Yeah.
that came and did that,
The
but
guy that does security company, I think it's Dakota Security. Maybe they've been bought out by someone else, but it's the same.
okay, I'll ask Dave if he knows about that, but all of that was put in at the time of the remodel,
Yeah.
and a lot of that information is no longer here,
Right.
so
And the guy
it's,
that came at the time and said, could just be that he's updated it or something
Uh-huh.
like that. So I'm thinking about going forward that we should probably doesn't really do anything, but it doesn't work.
okay.
Doesn't sound like that's what you do. Are you the only one that's allowed to log into it, or does everybody have the same problem you're having?
I'm the only one that
Okay.
has access.
I just-
So, I mean, Judge Dugan might, but
Right.
my staff.
Have you tried on a different computer or anything?
Yeah,
Okay.
I've tried it. It's just not connected to the server that carries the security.
How long has this been going on?
Oh, probably since I was literally in another building first.
Yeah,
So since then. at
Okay,
least.
the reason I asked was we had to replace our servers, and I thought maybe it was just.
I don't think it's related to that. This is a separate,
It could, like, you're right, it could be software is updated or something.
right,
So, then the last thing I have is that, like I said, we do have a new photo pointer upstairs on the third floor, that little judge's chambers. I just like.
okay,
And, because we never needed it before, and it was just the judge's chamber and they left. On that door,
okay,
she likes to be able to secure herself.
all right. Yeah, I'll look into that. Dave's also looking into a lock to switch on that office that April is currently using, the one she's been locked into. There seems to be some issues with the style of lock set that they use there only goes one particular way, and it has to be reversed. And so it's probably going to be purchasing a whole nother lock set for that. But that brings to my mind too that there's another little conference room in that same area where those three offices are at. Is there a time when both of those conference rooms are used for lawyer confidentiality stuff? Right.
But during jury trials, yes, we have Sundays on court service, we have attorneys.
Yeah. With knowing that another judge is going to be coming here and being housed permanently here, like Judge Buchan is, does the overall security of the building need to be improved now that that's the case? Because
If we get our security system working correctly, I think really second floor is pretty secure.
okay.
I mean, that, if we were to go.
Well, I'm referring to some of the other measures that other courthouses have been required to make because of additional judges being put into them, such as metal detectors and posted people at entrances to the building to check for stuff like that. Are we? Yeah, I was gonna ask, do you have any idea if that's gonna be coming through your pipeline towards us or not?
I haven't heard anything yet.
Okay. Because I go to several other courthouses, and you go to Washington, to the courthouse up there, you got to empty your pockets, they got to check you out, you got to go through the metal detector, you got to put everything back in, go in to do your business, and then check out on your way out saying that you've left the building. And there's only one way to come in and one way to go out.
Yeah. Thankfully, we had a guy come in and do an evaluation of the building. That was a suggestion that he made, that we only have one public entrance to the building.
I know, that's part of Homeland Security, and that's a big problem that we have with this building is that the outside doors to get in are not that secure. So when we talk about security, we need to really think, are we even secure at this moment in time doing what we're doing? So, all right, anything else, Jenny?
I think that's all I have, other than I just wanted to let you know that because of our COVID rules from the Supreme Court that they put on us as district court, that it's the clerk's office here to host a Christmas party, and we have to comply because it's allowed us to have it.
Okay,
So,
all right,
just as long as someone else will do that next year. So that's all I have.
all right,
Thank you.
thank you. Okay, we'll look into some of those issues. I think we'll go over and take a tour of VHS and see what we've got for availability over there, storage and everything. So let's move back to meet with the county engineer, Scott Klein.
Morning. So crews have done blading of dirt and gravel roads. There's a bridge on Osage down south that has a timber deck, and a bunch of deck repair was done on that, replacing the timbers. Also trees, well, brush cutting, there were a few intersections where they cleared brush away from, and they cut trees on the 146th Street Bridge project that is the bundle bridge that was bid on, and I haven't heard since I sent our information to the group, essentially to Lee County, to say that we also were wanting to go ahead and award the project. So last Tuesday, they were supposed to act on it, and maybe they did, but I just haven't got any report back yet on that. So that's a bridge that we were cutting trees on, so that if they start in the spring after April 1st, we won't have to worry about bats, migrating bats. The same Indiana bat, I don't know why they don't stay in Indiana, and then the long-eared bat, which they're so ugly, I don't know how they keep reproducing. And bats is an issue all the time.
Yeah.
And then brush cutting, yeah, already did that. Oh, with the boom mower, that was done in District 2.
I think the utilities have come around and been pulling trees and stuff in ditches. I know there's a lot of them in various areas out in my area. So we should be picking those up.
You mean they're just cutting them and leaving them?
Yeah, and they're like 5, 6 foot, they're not huge trees. They're shorter trees, but they're still laying in the ditches.
But has anyone seen the utility put them in there, or is it just where they come through and then?
I couldn't tell you. I just know it's not just 1 or 2 arms. It's like all over. So that leads me to think it was somebody.
Got a particular road stretch?
Yeah, check Winston Spruce. 189.
Take a look, see if we can figure it out. We had somebody dump a bunch of brush and dirt and bicycles
Oh,
mixed together into a ditch, and the person, and the property owner came in, wondered why we put this stuff in there, and we had to say, this not us. We don't know if they thought they were doing, their ditch was eroding a little bit, we don't know if they thought they were doing somebody a favor. That's the first place they came to where they
That's
could
the
dump
first
it
place
out.
they came to and dumped it probably.
So,
yeah, these, again, they're not huge trees, but they're like bushes, tree, just random things that grow in ditches.
okay.
I have another question here. So yesterday, they were having the trucks at my house like every 20 minutes. And the bridge on Spruce is 23 tons. And those are gonna be a lot more than we were probably highly likely to be taking that. So,
The Department of Motor Vehicles, or there's a law enforcement agency for weight and trucks.
I don't know.
Motor vehicle
To me,
enforcement.
it's a safety concern if that's.
Yeah, motor vehicle enforcement, if we become aware of it, we have to call them. Anybody can call them and say, report it. I don't know if the sheriff's office could do anything about it.
Okay, well, I knew I'd see you today, so I just thought I'd ask. And I know that some people with those trucks avoid going on that bridge. So it's just.
That's the bridge on.
And it could be others too, I don't know, just now.
I know one time we were looking at a 3-ton bridge that was gonna be replaced and has been. And a concrete truck started to turn the corner and then stopped apparently when they saw us, and then went the other way. I mean, maybe that's the first time they ever came that way.
Yeah, well, it's a 20, because I checked it this morning before I came in, because I was thinking it was a 13-ton, but it's 23, so at least it's a better bridge than I thought.
Yeah. And then we've had contractors tear out all the fill off of one end of like a 6 or 7-ton bridge, and then park the crane on the bridge after they did that. It didn't fall, but makes you wonder. I mean, some of these bridges can take more than that load, obviously.
Since I see it today, I just asked, because I didn't know.
But they can only take it so much. And then eventually, even a lighter load probably gonna crash through if there's a lot of ignoring the signage that's there. I mean, it's intended to keep the bridge in good, safe order for that load.
Oh, this is the time of year when the winter gets dry.
Okay.
So people are cleaning their put those huge trucks, that are probably, I don't know, for 80,000 pounds, maybe.
And we've had some of those in the past call up and say, well, can you give us, a temporary permit to cross with this?
Yes, they're asking, that's good.
Yeah, well, I said, the only thing we could do is analyze it and see if.
You could actually hold it.
Distribution, they might have to do something like go across at 5 miles per hour.
Well, the wheelbase is long at least.
They could also not load it clear full. But it's still good, there's still ways they could be in compliance.
It's the season of the year for that, so it's gonna be all over the county, probably, it'll be a challenge.
With the crops out, they're gonna be out in those fields.
It was from Oshkosh all the way down to here and all the way up that it smelled like that. Whether you were here in Iowa or Illinois or up in Wisconsin, it was.
No, and that's
one form or
understandable,
another.
I was just concerned about the safety.
Yeah, I know over
Mhm.
last part of the week or over the weekend, I was in Fairfield and I thought, is there a hog operation in here? And I thought, well, it could be the field.
Smells
Can't put
like,
in the field.
smells like old foot. Yes, me. All right, anything else, Scott?
So they have been patching potholes with cold mix and mowing. The mowing that's being done now is on gravel shoulders, not get the weeds down, the brush, things like that. Maintaining equipment. They repaired an entrance on 165th west of Spruce. They repaired some culverts, repaired and replaced on dirt roads in District 7. Rock hauling, spot rock hauling. The signs are up, the new signs are new speed limit up on west of Pleasant Plain.
I was gonna ask you one last thing with that. Did you put the yellow on the posts like you have in some other higher visibility type locations? You know,
Probably not, but we could certainly do that.
okay. That might be one added feature that can go on to those that will bring it to your attention, especially after dark, because they really stand out when they have that high reflectivity striping on the post below it. I've just been trying to think of any other safety enhancements that could be done.
They could do white on the speed limit signs themselves, and then
Mhm.
yellow on the warning signs.
Yeah, yeah.
We can do that anytime. I'd like to do more of it. Like to do like instead of just every so often, maybe do more of a comprehensive thing.
Mhm.
Do some of that on all paved roads.
Right.
Especially, well, you know, we have a couple of curves where we put it on shift.
Mhm.
And we also did did the voting booths before and after.
Right. Thank you
Thank you.
for having the crew do that. I was here when they were hauling stuff out.
So, hey, I wanted to give you guys, or had to give the guys, and all of you a heads start.
Yes, yes, that deserves to be.
And we're going to put, it's already in the works, but we're going to put signs out by the ambulance base. Watch for emergency vehicles coming from each
It's a
direction.
good idea.
And we'll put them 400 or 500 feet within each side with a sign that says 400 feet or 500 feet, whatever works out to be. So that they're not looking the whole road to see, if they didn't happen to catch that that's where the ambulances that come from,
Mhm.
they'll, I mean, at least the distance will give them the opportunity to figure that out.
And I did reach out. Fine with it.
I don't know when they'll come because we went to Troy last week, but haven't found out from them. I'm assuming those will be special order signs because the only ones that the MUTCD has is for fire trucks, and that would be misleading.
Mhm.
And but other states have come up with different signs, like the watch for emergency vehicles. I mean, someone has that sign as their standard in another state.
Mhm.
We should think of special order, we could special order signs anyway, to say about anything we want.
Anything else for Scott? We do have,
On the trailer, we've got to figure out how much it costs, but I'm not sure we'll get anything back.
As far as the expenses above what we got for return from the scrap metal, you don't think we're gonna get any payment for us doing that from those people?
Well, we can know.
Well, that's what we're gonna do, and then, you know,
We'll have to make it see.
right. We have a resolution here as well for a step increase, I believe it is. No. Brandon Coleman,
Oh.
new employee, or
We did that.
we did that?
Thursday,
Yeah. Part of that
or
minutes.
whenever, a week ago.
Okay.
so.
Yep.
We had that special Thursday meeting.
Right. A week ago last Thursday. Okay. I was just making sure that way, you know, I was lying here in my pile of stuff. We'll move on to discuss and consider safety committee recommendations.
Thanks for sending this, Chris. So safety committee met Wednesday, and basically you can see here their recommendations about annual training. So they asked for all employees shall complete relevant training on an annual basis through IMWCA. They have web training. And then there's some general courses for all employees and specific ones that department heads would determine. General courses are fire safety, which is going on now. The next one's at 12. Bloodborne pathogens, identifying and eliminating sexual harassment, ladder safety, trip, slip and fall prevention, and back safety. And then each department will have a person to oversee and track employee training. Secondary roads already does this. And then each department shall identify their designee during the budget meetings. Board of Supervisors shall maintain a list of designees and share that list with the safety committee. Each employee shall complete the training each calendar year, beginning next year, 2021. The Board of Supervisors shall support this training by checking the training records for each department during annual budget meetings.
We also mentioned about the accident that Troy had. Could you elaborate a little bit more on that? It seemed like it was just a slip from a machine. He twisted his ankle or something, and he called the company nurse about it. It was the one day that we all thought the end of summer was here. And but it's been a couple of weeks ago now.
Oh, it was a little icy, and actually the
Hey, this is Chris. I don't want to, hey, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I think that's something that needs to be discussed in a confidential setting.
Okay. Sorry.
That's okay. I'm just, thank you.
Yep.
On these recommendations first, so I'll make a motion that we, what do I want to say, accept the safety committee recommendations.
Okay. I have a motion to accept the recommendations from the safety committee meeting. I have a second from Dimmitt. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
And thank you to the
And-
safety committee, you're doing awesome work.
Yes. Thank you, Chris. And Brett.
And Pat, and yeah, it's all of us working together. If you guys don't mind, I'm gonna hop off because our phones have been ringing a lot. So I'll be on the meeting at noon for those people that are gonna be on the meeting. Thanks, you guys, very much.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.
well, those recommendations be distributed.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll talk to Pat some more. Pat, we talked about having a department head meeting after we adopted this to really explain it and roll it out.
Right, and I mean, the engineer's office is actually already doing some of this stuff. I know that Brent has been at a lot of the meetings, and he talks about having a spreadsheet that he tracks all of the trainings that the different employees of the secondary roads department participate in. So he was talking about just adding these types of trainings and you know, sharing it with the group and doing that type of thing. So actually, Scott, I think your office may be a few steps ahead on this as compared to some others. I know the treasurer's office indicated that he's already sort of got these all signed up and everybody's on board to take them. I know Melissa in the auditor's office has done some of this work already. So some of the processes are already in place from some of the offices that are directly involved with the safety committee. So, but yes, I think that the supervisors should have a department head meeting and maybe push some of this stuff out, and maybe, you know, maybe Brent or somebody else that's sort of got this head start might be somebody to invite or ask to share kind of what they're doing.
So
Okay.
that brings up a question, logistically, because we can't get all those people in this office. Would you suggest we use the courtroom, do it just virtually, but I'm not sure everybody has access that way?
I mean, you know, I love virtual meetings, but so I think that's, you know, the first choice, obviously. But yeah, if you had to have it in person or do some more in person, you can get up to what, 15 people or 18 people in the courtroom. They've got it marked off for their jurors. So
So what days of the week is that available?
that's probably a Jenny question.
Okay.
Typically, it would be available on most likely Tuesdays and Fridays, and you know, some Wednesdays and some Thursdays. But you know, I don't know if they've got any specially scheduled hearings or if they've got any of those other types of things. I mean, Mondays are the worst day. If there's a
Right.
jury trial, then it's, you know, the whole week. And but yeah, just check with the clerk.
Okay.
So typically, how long do these courses take?
Well, they're not very long. Usually they're like 20 minutes if they're done online, maybe at maximum. You go through, you watch videos, you answer questions based off of that. Then at the end, your score is totaled and it tells you whether you passed or not, or if you have to go back and review different things. But that's typically what they are. None of them last more than anything that would obligate somebody for a half a day or anything like that.
And these are all things that have been recommended by the,
Well, I understand.
Yeah.
that, but I don't want people
yeah.
spending
No.
2 hours and all the road crews out doing, you know,
Yeah,
it's not acceptable.
Well, they're
Yeah,
all-
no, they're pretty short. I think Melissa in the auditor's office has taken some of them, so she would be probably the most knowledgeable about them. But I don't think that any of them take too terrible long, 15, 20 minutes. So they're designed to be sort of bite size and be able to, you know, fit them into a regular schedule.
Okay. Anything else? All right. Let's move on then to discuss and consider resolution for new appointment for the Mid-America Port Commission. This is something that was sent to me as the chairman. The Mid-American Port Commission was established under joint authorization legislation in Iowa, Illinois, and Missouri, herein referred to as the Mid-American Port Commission Agreement, and is recognized and authorized by Chapter 28K of the Code of Iowa. The commission itself is made up of 9 people. 3 are appointed by the state. 2 are appointed by resolution from each of the state's counties that are involved in this, and 1 commissioner from each state is appointed by the state's governor. We're asking, the board is being asked right now to appoint Denise Boyer of Lee County, Iowa, to our representative for the Iowa portion of the commissioners. And the Iowa portion is Jefferson, Van Buren, Wapello, Lee, Henry, and Des Moines counties. And each of us supervisors are the chairman of the board of each of those supervisors are on this. So I would seek to approve this resolution to appoint Denise Boyer of Lee County to be a commissioner of the Mid-America Port Commission. Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those,
Discussion?
yes, discussion.
Okay, so we did this 3 years ago when I was chair, and then we actually had a face-to-face meeting. So what I learned at that is this is basically a group that's not overactive because it depends on funding, but it needs to be active in case funding comes down the stream, with a primary interest these counties, and we're kind of on the border, but it's along the Mississippi River and has to do with the ports basically and economic development. That's my version, but this is short version of what it is.
Yeah, it's very more in depth than what I had on it.
Well, yeah, because you probably weren't able to have them.
No,
Meeting.
we haven't even been called to meet together yet since I've been chairman. But all right, well, we have a motion and a second on the floor. All those in favor of passing this resolution, say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. So. All right. Discuss and consider allowance and disallowance of family farm credits. Steve Winning, want to bring us up to speed on this one?
What I have this morning, I only have 4 this year that didn't qualify. That's just people that have signed up for family farms that don't qualify, or that something has happened, they don't qualify anymore.
Do they know that?
They're going to.
Are we gonna get calls about it?
You might. You might.
Give us a heads up
Yeah.
who it is.
Yeah, I got the sheets all
Would you spell your last name for the record?
here.
Yeah.
So we can say, call Steve?
Yes, that's just fine. I mean, it's just the way the code requires that you guys allow.
Right.
Okay.
Well, we do this every year.
Yep.
So you need a motion from us to allow or disallow?
Correct.
Okay, I would accept the motion.
I'll make a motion to allow. Can I vote on this, Pat, since I'm probably get that?
I'm only half listening, sorry.
It's a family farm tax credit. It comes up every year. So can I vote on that or should I abstain?
It's not specific to you, it's to an entire classification of people,
Okay, thank you.
so you can vote.
Okay, so I have a motion and a second on the floor. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Okay, you can move ahead, Scott. Or Steve.
You know who's gonna get phone calls.
Yeah, Darren, that's who. All right, do we have any committee reports?
Yes.
Okay, I'll start with mine. I did have a meeting that I was able to attend by phone while I was on the road last Tuesday. The DCAT board met, and we've been doing pretty well with our funding. There are some issues that need to go on concerning Troy Seeley and some of the programs that they've been offering and budget cuts that need to go on and due to COVID. So they're going to be working on that, and everything else has been working pretty well for the DCAT board. So that was my meeting, other than attending the safety committee meeting with Dee on last Wednesday.
Yeah, we had safety committee meeting and then I had Pathfinders. And so things pertinent to Jefferson County, again, Pathfinders is 6 counties. The Jefferson County COVID-19 Relief Fund. Since July, Pathfinders has assisted 18 families with utility and food insecurity with an overall total of $6,700, and those funds are exhausted and not available anymore. And then Pathfinders is going to be the fiscal agent for the revised area, which is now Southern Iowa Workforce Development fiscal agent. And Pathfinders has written grants and received for over $740,000 for various projects and organizations in fiscal year 20, which is pretty exciting.
Mhm.
And again, that's, you know, they write grants for other organizations, but basically they're doing a lot of grant writing right now.
Yeah.
And then we had a Bridges Out of Poverty meeting for ID. Just kind of reviewed our meeting with people from the well. And next one is, well, I guess Chris isn't on here, but it'll be December 8th.
Okay.
Is that it?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I didn't have any real committee meetings, but I did, was a poll watcher this last election. I think we all know sitting here, but I want as many people as possible to know, especially if the news media is on, what a job that Abby and the entire auditor's office and all the people we have working the election and doing the counting and so on and so forth. And when I see all of the trouble that a lot of other locations had, and we were dead on and everything, it's a testament to Abby and how hard she works and the whole crew. So I just give them a thumbs up.
Yes, thank you so much for that.
And you look rested.
It's amazing what a bottle of brandy will do. Oh, I'm sorry.
All right. Do we have any public comments? I have some stuff I want to talk to you a little bit more before I meet with someone out there on the intersection that I called you about last week. Just want to get some general information from you after the meeting's over with. Have you heard from anybody out in the public that wants anything said? No?
No,
Okay.
I think we're going to jump down to discuss and consider nuisance properties.
Yep, that's what we're going to do.
On here, we're moving forward. I did visit the property on Indigo Boulevard outside of Libertyville. There is some significant movement there, but they still have a lot of vehicles and other paraphernalia to get rid of. The gentleman that she had doing the work was more than willing to move all of the vehicles for free, just for what he was able to, and she felt that was too expensive. So I don't know where that'll go from there. I know, I'm right there with you. But anyway, the process is moving, and there'll be some others that you'll get.
Sure. Okay. That sounded about right on your end, Pat McVan?
Yes, I've got a couple of new ones that have been or will be filed into court and have appearance dates. I think maybe the end of this month or the first part of December. We had the one that was mitigated that I'd shared some concerns with you about. The court agreed with me and entered the order accordingly. So at this point, you know, the issue of, you know, paying costs on the part of the county is not something that we have to worry about.
Mm-hmm.
So I had heard that same property that Lee was talking about, that there had been some progress made, and because I communicate with the daughter quite frequently, she sends me emails and updates, and you know, she's got a big project to work on that wasn't even her project, and so I just, you know, I'm kind of a cheerleader. I keep encouraging.
To reference that property that you were talking about, where we ended up dismissing because it was the issue of the nuisance was mitigated, and we ended up having to pay court costs. You know, I guess the question I have, and I know it's kind of put you in between a a rock and a hard place. But the question I have is that at what point do we decide to file when we believe that there's no progress being made? And then they get this letter that it's been filed and the court date's been set. And as I understand it, we're trying to hit a 30-day window so that they've got 30 days notice. And then all of a sudden they decide, oh, well, they're really serious. And so then they scramble and they mitigate the issue. This one particular property, we initially filed on July 28th. It was October 20th before it was mitigated, but there was some progress being made, and then it came to a, and so is there a better way to proceed with that? And actually, if you think that there is, I guess I would, and maybe we've already worked it out with Bruce so that we don't run into that again.
No, actually, I don't think that there is. I mean, to give you an example, usually like if the state patrol cites somebody for a traffic ticket, they're giving at least 5 weeks in order for the paperwork to get to court and to be properly processed. Because what happens is if the person shows up to court for their appearance and the paperwork isn't properly on file, the case gets dismissed and we do pay the court costs. So we have to give ourselves enough cushion to get that taken care of, especially in this circumstance where our nuisance compliance folks are not empowered to file directly the citation. They're serving all the notices, or they're providing the notices, and then they're certifying on there in writing that they have properly delivered that notice, and then they're sending it to me so that I can file it. It's actually being filed under my name. There are, some steps in the process that, in terms of just getting it filed, that we have to make sure that we do. And even if they could file direct, like I said, it's in magistrate court. It's similar to a traffic ticket in that regard. And, state patrol gives people at least a month. So, I think where the issue came here was that they mitigated the nuisance, and that whoever went and visited them and said, oh man, you did a great job, you don't have to come to court now. Yeah, you do.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Once we file something in court, you don't get to not go to court until somebody associated with court tells you that you don't have to go there. And so that may have been where the miscommunication came in.
Okay, I got it. That makes sense. All right.
The other thing that, so you guys know, with the court costs, is the court costs are actually the quote unquote filing fee, because this is not, we're not a criminal offense. It's not a traffic ticket. The state doesn't pay every time they file something. But if you file a civil action, there's always a filing fee. Divorce, no contact orders, all these different things, there's filing fees. We are waived from paying those filing fees up front when we file, because we're a municipality. Anybody else that filed something would pay this amount up front as soon as they filed it, and then it would get reimbursed potentially as part of the process. And it might get ordered and then not paid, and it would be another one of those situations, but we just don't have to pay it at all. So we already catch a pretty significant break on the front end. So if it ever gets to the point where we get ordered to pay it on the back end, we're still way, way ahead.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, that leaves allow claims and approve reports.
Second.
I have a motion from Dimmitt, a second from Sandquist. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Tomorrow, Tuesday, November 10th at 2 p.m., we are going to canvass the general election results here in the supervisor's office. So we have our meeting tomorrow to go to. The remainder of the week, we don't have any other board meetings set up. So I would take a motion to adjourn.
Just so you know, Mr. Chair, the rules can change. You have to sign that big stack of papers.
Yes.
Oh, actually, yeah, but motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion to adjourn and a second from Sandquist. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone, for attending.